again for another session of the Entourage Hour. I'm your host, NaVon, and joining me is my lovely co-host, First Lady of E&E, Asia.
First Lady.
That's right. Every week we bring you a local broadcast that showcases talent from the area, as well as keep everyone up to date on current events. So I want you to let them know what's on the plate tonight, Mom.
All right. Well, tonight is going to be our Friday Fever for February. We're doing a music feature tonight, and we have in the building with us on the studio, we have DMV artist NaVon Smith. NaVon Smith, thank you for coming on out to join us tonight for the Entourage Hour.
Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome. Absolutely, welcome.
All right, so getting into and we got my man T. Lucas back for a second round here. So T. Lucas, thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out. And as always, we got our CEO of Entourage Entertainment over here.
Number one Picks.
All right, everybody doing?
All right, so getting into tonight's show, basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to feature the artist that we have on the show, NaVon Smith, and just talk about some great things that he's doing here locally in the community, just with his career in general. So we just going to kind of jump right on in with the interview here. And NaVon, I want you to go ahead and tell the listeners, for people that don't know who you are, just a little bit about yourself, where you came from, you know, how you got to this point to where you are right now.
Give us that bio, brother. Absolutely.
NaVon Smith, born right here from DC. I got my start like a lot of artists here on U Street. You know what I mean? Like we was out
uptown
banging. Back when it was bar none. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we were banging out the. I had a CD called V for Vendetta. It's crazy. It's just a story because we couldn't get. I couldn't get shows. You know how DC is? It's real cliquish. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So like we couldn't get any shows at all. Like you know what I mean? We was out there and it's like we was selling a bunch of CDs though, doing donations. You know, and I was like, I didn't care what people gave me for the CD. I was just like, just give me whatever because I just wanted you to hear the music.
Exactly.
But we made money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when we couldn't get shows, I had a great idea. It's like probably one of the best ideas I ever came up with. And it was like, yo, let's just throw our own. You know what I mean?
Basically.
So we took the money from the donations from the CDs and we threw our first show at Live.
And when was this?
This was back in like 2009, 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was the first act, ironically, this is crazy, was Brand Nubian.
Oh, wow.
Which is who we bring it back at the Howard Theater.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Coming full circle.
February 27th, Howard Theater.
It's funny how things come full circle,
Yeah, it's like I didn't, that was what I could afford. You know what I mean? And so it was like you was looking for things that kind of like that kind of correlates with your style or that with your demographic. Right. So I know if I could open up. You know what I mean? Right. So we did that show, and then like from that show it did well, and then we did Dead Prayers. And then because I was selling so many CDs in Baltimore, and I had built a good relationship. I don't know if you guys remember Sonar. From out B-More. It was a venue out there before Soundstage. It was Sonar. You know what I mean? And we did Dead Prayers, and I was just like, yo,
Okay, so how much resources were you recouping from the CD sales after you did the show?
I was making more money. You know what was crazy? Because artists were coming up to me, and see, Luke was be around that time. He wasn't banging like that, but artists were coming up to me, and they thought everybody was so under the illusion by the shows. But what guys didn't understand, I was making most of my money off of the CDs. Right. Because I was pressing, I had my own Remich little press up thing. It was costing me maybe 25 cents for my whole package. And I went out and I was doing donations. People was giving me $20 for a CD because I got this conscious CD and I got all this stuff. My artwork was dope. You know what I mean? I had this stuff saying I'm like,
self-made businessman.
Package put together.
Exactly.
We walked up. We didn't go up like niggas. We walked up like, yo, hello, my name is NaVon Smith. I just dropped my album. It's called V for Vendetta. It's a conscious CD.
I want to go ahead and stress that point real quick, just for the listeners out there. You said you didn't go up on everybody and come off too hoodish or niggerish or whatever. You came more professional.
I introduced myself. Before I even mentioned the CD, like it was my pitch. Even when I brought guys with me, it was like, yo, come on out here. I'm like, yo, nah, you gotta make sure you introduce yourself.
Presentation is 3/4 of the battle.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, they just jam a CD right in your face and tell you buy it.
Yeah.
Who are you?
And it's invasive, right?
It's like hold up, man.
At the same
come
time,
on, man. Right. Tell me something about you.
Right. Explain.
You know, what's your rap?
So you want to connect with your audience. I mean, with your fans also in a way.
Jam your CD in my face.
Right.
And then they be like, "Come on, man, just give me 10. I know you got it."
Right. Excuse me, you all over my pocket.
How much is your CD? It's a donation.
Right.
What do you mean it's a donation? How much? Yo, whatever you got.
Exactly.
You know, I got 25 cents. Give it to me. Because in my mind, like if I got $1, that dollar paid for 4 CDs.
Right.
So it gave me room. Now if somebody gave me $5, which we was getting no less than like $3 to $5 for each CD. Like they were paying for everybody's CDs.
So your whole production pretty much paid for itself. You
I would
finance
spend
yourself.
maybe like $250 for 1,000 CDs, and I would make no less than $3,000.
This is say that one more time. This is something that I want everybody to hear. Say that one more time.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention.
$250
Independent
for 1,000
grand.
CDs.
Right.
And I was making like $3,000. We was making no less than $3.
Entrepreneur.
Self-made entrepreneur. You went out there. You took the initiative yourself. You invested in your craft. You went out there. You didn't go out there and make people feel like you were hustling them, but you rather approached them saying like, invest in this. So like you said, you took whatever they were willing to give you because it was all profit to you at that point because it was only cost you 25 cents to make one. That's amazing. So what happened after the second show here?
The shows were breaking even, and that's what people didn't understand.
Right, they thought the shows was a light.
But it was the illusion. Right. Everybody looking at the shows like, oh my God. How'd you get this show? Like guys coming up to me asking me to sign up. Like I was asking guys to get on something. Like, yo, can you sign me? Can you put me up? Like, yo, I'm like, dude, I'm not even nowhere in
I'm not that guy.
Face. Like, yo, like what you doing? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, it just made me realize that perception is everything.
Perception is reality.
You know what I mean?
Most often, yeah.
You know,
perception is reality.
I would say your showmanship also, because I had the privy of seeing some of your videos or some of your performances, and the one thing that sets you apart in essence is like there's a difference between somebody that's pursuing a career in music versus somebody that's pursuing a career in entertainment. You definitely entertain when you go out. You know, you make it a point to connect with your audience, connect with your fans, versus just going out there like, thank you, good night. You know what I'm saying? Like you just sitting there like, damn, was that a show or
you know coming from the open, we learned this from Bar None. When Bar None was Bar None, you know, it was like, I don't know if you guys remember.
Explain Bar None because maybe listeners who don't know.
Yo, Bar None was like, if you came into Bar None on some crazy shit, like you didn't come back next week on no crazy shit. Like it wasn't controlled. It was self-controlled. Nobody had to pick and choose. Nobody had, you know how you go to these open mics like, yo, no, we're gonna pick this person and put this person. Bar None wasn't like that. Bar None, you either stepped your game up or you wasn't gonna sign that list next week. Right. Because it was that good.
Right. The competition.
Like the quality and people were talking about something. So you get this guy, he just went up there and just dropped a bomb. You're
not following that, right?
You can't go up there and talk about how many people you shot. As a human being,
right?
You don't even feel comfortable in your skin. It's just a natural. You like, yo, like hold up. You know,
gotta elevate myself.
Up there, you like this, yo. It ain't like, yo, I just shot this nigga. You up there like, yo, I just shot this nigga. You ashamed to say
that?
Yeah. So the quality of your peers who were performing in this made you feel like you had to rise to the occasion too.
Iron sharpens iron.
Right.
You had to go up there, and it was the most important thing at an open mic. At my shows, I do a lot of acapellas. And the reason why I do that is because the most important thing for me is when you're on that stage, it's not about your hit record. It ain't about how big your song is, how dope your beat is. Nobody cares about that. They just want to hear you at that first time. Right. Nobody's listening to see if it's a hit record. They just want to know, can you rap? Why are you on this stage? Why are you, especially for the shows that we doing. Exactly. We opening up for Slick Rick, Rakim, The Locks,
Juveniles, all that.
Brand Nubian, Crit, all these legendary shows.
Right.
And you like
people who have reputation, who have a following.
This guy, you looking, because you like, how he even get there? Because there's all these other guys, I'm moving in a certain way. I'm moving from a behind the scenes way because I couldn't get my foot in I couldn't get in the clicks. You know what I mean? Nobody, they know me. Everybody knows who I am. Like any of the artists that came up, I just couldn't.
Well, do you think it's because you kind of stand apart in your style? And actually, I want to get into that, just what your personal style, how you identify, what you do. Do you think it was that you stood apart from maybe how their particular styles work?
I think I think one of the reasons why T. Lucas kind of clicked, and the reason why I got, T. Lucas is like, I'm an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not really.
Right.
I'm blind as hell. Okay. Let me just say that. Hold on, I'm blind as hell. So you might come up to me in a club and try to shake my hand. I might not even see you. So you might walk, you may feel a certain way. Like, Picasso.
Damn, he just dissed me.
DeMont Picasso, that's like my guy, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's like my guy. And he used to like be like, yo, nah, he didn't see you. Like, he wasn't trying to shit on you or whatever. So I'm not, I don't want to say that I'm like, because of my style. I just think like a lot of it is just my character. Like, and then on top of that, I'm an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, I'm not
who
really.
You are personally does not really facilitate the whole thing of trying to fight your way into these little cliques and then trying to be friends with. Right, I got
it's
you.
hard for
it
me
goes
to do
against
that.
your nature.
And then I'm stubborn as hell. I don't, you know what I mean? So it's like, and he knows, like, you know what I mean?
Say that again.
He's like laughing. Like, I'm like super stubborn. So it's like, I'm a guy like, you have to, I think guys like me and T. Lucas is we have to like create our own lane because people are not going to naturally. You got some people that's just naturally cool. They're just cool.
The personality,
guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think like XO is one of those guys. Like, he's just a naturally like he walks in, he's just like, yo. You know what I mean? He's like cool as hell. And people like naturally like
gravitate to
it. That it factor.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that's like in the club,
in the corner,
and I'm like chilling, and I don't even see half of y'all motherfuckers
just
walking around. But then so when I get on stage though, I have to like
cut everything off
and like like forget all this because I don't have all of that. And the only thing I have is my words. That's what I'm saying. And in the same way I rap. Is how I talk. If you listen to my music, like I am like me through and through. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not. It's no extra anything. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this real quick while we have you on that particular point. What is your opinion on those rappers? Because I have. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. I don't know, but I have a pet peeve with rappers right now. Everyone wants to.
He hates it.
I don't hate it. It's just that everyone wants. I feel like everyone's trying to sell me something. Before, when I first started listening to music. I felt like everyone was trying to inform me of something. Right. Like, I listened to music, someone was trying to tell me what it was like where they grew up, what they go through on a daily basis. You don't go here, you go here, Now, when I hear music, it feels like just one long marketing campaign. Somebody has a particular style and brand. And they understand that, and they're marketing that to the masses. And the person who is rapping is not typically represented through their music, you know what I'm saying? Throw a loose example out. What's that girl Pink? You know what I'm saying? She came out. Remember, she had that hip hop.
When she was with LaFace Records,
right? But she really was a rocker chick. You know what I'm saying? That really wasn't. That really wasn't her style, image. But she did what they did. You know what they wanted her to do to get out there. So my question is, what do you? Because you just said like your music is you. This is who I am. You can hear it in my music. What do you think about those who try to? I don't know. I don't want to say deceive the audiences, but to sell to the audiences more.
We was just having this debate the other day. We was gonna pass out flyers. You know what I mean? And my this is my sole opinion. You know what I mean? And I just think that it's just. I think you just be yourself. Like I think that you're as a unique artist.
Yes.
I think. If you yourself through and through, you're going to stand out because your experiences, like
because you're unique. Everyone's unique.
It leads up to something. Exactly. So that within
if you try to be someone else, you're going to be a part of the masses.
I think we was having this debate. This was a debate. You know what I mean? The debate was people trying to be like everybody else, and then people trying to be different. And I was like, for real, I think both of them are wrong because then you got the people that's trying to be like everybody else. They not being themselves. They trying to be like everybody else. But then you get this guy over here where he ego tripping. He like, well, I ain't going. I'm gonna do it. Even if this how you really is, you're gonna be different.
Exactly.
Just to try to be different, but you're still not being yourself. So you still getting away. It's just two extremities of the same thing, and it's like, yo, I think it's like no matter
perceptions
what,
ain't lining up.
Yeah, like yo, nigga, if you rock North Faces, rock North Faces. You see what I'm saying? That's who you are. That's what you do. Like rock. I don't care if everybody wear them. I don't care if nobody wears them. Right. Like you're gonna go through those phases where everybody's wearing them, and it's cool. But like you.
I think that's a DMV thing too.
I think it's a DMV thing too.
Definitely, because you know what I'm saying. It's very trend following in this area.
Yeah,
Vaughn, I want to say, what was that?
I said we let stuff go, then we bring it back.
Yeah,
like Helly Hansen came back, Eddie Bauer coming back.
I think it's a world thing though now, because with the internet, like everybody is kind of following Europe right now.
Right.
With this whole Euro thing, and everything has been like somebody, and this has been going on. It ain't just DMV; it's all over the world. Like what happens is somebody decides that satin is in, and then your favorite artist has satin on TV, and then
product placement.
Satin is in. You know, somebody says that it's time for the pants to get tightened. Like you know what I mean? Let's tighten them up.
So now it's a trend.
So now somebody's on TV, and they're dictating. I was talking to my little cousin. He was like, "Yo, you got tight jeans?" I'm just messing with him, right? And he's like, "Yo, like," and I'm telling him like it's hip hop. Because, come on, like, let's keep it 1,000. Tight jeans has always been a part of hip hop. It's the original culture of hip hop. You know, Run DMC and
World Class Wrecking Crew.
And those guys' jeans were tight as hell. You could see they nuts as they was walking. And you was paying.
Everybody's jeans was tight back then.
A little rhinestones.
Everybody,
just
regular people.
You can't say that's not hip hop. You know what I mean? Because at one point, baggy jeans to them wasn't hip hop. It was like, yo, what's that?
I think baggy jeans came about the 90s, right?
In the 90s,
yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, everybody's jeans was
crazy?
tight.
But let me finish though. My point is that why he's like, yo, I'm just being me. And I'm like, but you think it's a coincidence that it's a million of y'all that's just saying the same thing? Nobody is stopping to think and say, why why do I want? I think that's the problem with the with our cultures, that we don't question.
We sheep.
Yeah, we don't. Sheep. And it starts early though. I think it starts in the home. Like, you know what I mean? We can go into a whole different conversation, but
we are trained to be sheep. Absolutely.
To just accept things, believe things without questioning.
Do not buck against the grain. Stay in your lane.
Stay conformed.
It starts in religion.
Yeah.
But it leaks.
I was actually
getting
into
our
that point.
everyday life, and people don't understand that. Like the root of it is religion, because it teaches us not to question or do anything. So now when things happen, if something comes on the news,
I have always said I'm not going to. Religion is a system of control. I'm not talking about faith, but religion itself is a system of control. It was designed that way, and it's always been that way, and it will always be that way. Not to disrespect or offend anyone, but I am a man of faith. I do, I believe, and I have faith. I don't ascribe to any particular, religion or anything, because don't put me in a box or tell me how I'm supposed to believe or how my spirituality is supposed to go. Like you said, it's just like they want you to be a conformist. You sit there, you keep your head down, you go to work, you spend, you come home, the same cycle over and over again.
I was going to say, Vaughn, just listening to your music, you do seem like you're pretty spiritually grounded in a sense, because I noticed an underlying theme, like just going through the different tracks. I was like, every track seemed to complement the next one. Like, in a sense, it's like you're going from one story to the next story to the next story, but you still have like a foundation for each of those stories.
Yo, I wish you guys could hear, like, Reach for the Stars was like super dumbed down. Like
explain that.
From what I did, and let me not say dumbed down. Like, it was something I wanted to do something different with Reach for the Stars. But if you would have like heard like my earlier stuff, like I do like one of the freestyles that I do on stage. I don't know if you heard it, but it talks about black women and their hair,
right?
And it kind of goes into like, it's like what the world is going on. Every time I perform, it's another black girl that done dyed her hair blonde.
Right.
I ain't saying it's wrong, I ain't saying it's right, but if you ain't trying to be white, then what you trying to be like? The answer is you damn sure ain't trying to be Michael, and nah, I ain't trying to be spiteful. I'm just trying to kick some knowledge to an Egyptian goddess, help her realize who she is underneath the garbage. Because you don't need Maybelline to make you a queen, and it's not about how your ass shaking your jeans. What you think your man loyal because he gave you a ring? If his heart wasn't in it, all he did was gave you a dream. When you go and wake up and see that you the closest thing to the Most High besides him who can birth a nation. But I'ma be patient. Take your time. Get yourself together, Mom. I'ma be waiting. It started with stories like Cinderella, because most of their hair was yellow and naturally straight. But what they neglected to tell you was that you was naturally great. You not a mistake. Make up. So it's like this, and that's like so I had like rhymes with like back to back. Like you heard V for Vendetta, like V for Vendetta. You seen the movie V for Vendetta? I'm pretty sure. So my first mixtape, V for Vendetta, was like really like going against challenging everything
that you know
in society,
right.
like even with religion.
So why did you depart from your initial? You said it was. I won't use dumb down, but you said you didn't want to use that word. But why did you depart from your initial vision a little bit to conform a little bit because you felt like you wouldn't reach as many people?
Not even that. You know what I realized is that it starts with the mind, and people don't have goals. People don't have people are not focused. People and Reach for the Stars was like, okay, I can take this theme of reaching for the stars and like, and like maybe some type of like, the theme is like the hand that you need is at the end of your own arm. Like that's one of the long, you know what I mean? If ain't nobody holding you up, you ain't got to worry about them letting you down.
Exactly.
Right.
Things of that nature, like, so it's like these underlining, if you really listen to Reach for the Stars and like you hear it, it's like you still hear the consciousness and the stuff in there. It's there, definitely there. So maybe dumb down is not the right word or the right phrase, but I wanted to like
more digestible.
Take it back. Let's pull back. Because at first it was like just all this straightforward, like
you basically smooth it off a little bit.
Minds wasn't even ready for that. A lot of people even heard it. They minds. It wasn't that they didn't get it. They got it. But it's like, how do we fix the problem? I think that we want to change people. We really want to change lives or change the world. You have to change how people think.
Absolutely.
And people.
That starts with absolutely.
And people not. And that's the thing. That's what we don't like. I was having this argument with my daughter's teacher. I should put my daughter out for my last.
I saw the picture. Yeah.
And I had an argument with her. Not an argument, but a debate with her teacher, and it was like concentration. And I'm like, y'all don't teach these kids to concentrate. Where's the lessons on concentration?
Right.
It's just expected for them to just concentrate. And we get on our kids. You gotta concentrate. You gotta pay attention. But we don't develop.
How do I learn how to concentrate?
We never got it. We don't even know how to even as grown adults, as grown people, we still haven't developed at a high level of concentration to be able to focus on something long enough. You talking about why we can't. Why we can't get results in the world?
There was about that point. There was a Pell study that they did that I read a few months ago. They were talking about the attention span of adults over the past 30 years or so. It has declined. It hasn't gotten stronger.
It's because we've become over technical with it, with all the social media, all the devices and things, and people don't have an attention span. Just writing a simple letter. Nobody writes a simple letter anymore. People want to shorthand everything.
I think in
cut it all up.
the late 80s, 90s, don't anybody quote me, but I believe it was like 7% or something. It's down like 7 minutes or so, average per adult. It's down to like 4 minutes. You know what I'm saying? This is a grown. My daughter, she's 5, and she can focus on something, for at least 3 minutes. At least to sit there and focus on 3 minutes. How are you only going a minute farther than a 5-year-old?
Yeah, and I can't even scroll the internet more than 4 or 5 minutes before I'm like,
so how can any real change or any real difference happen when we not even concentrated? We don't have goals. Right. We don't even set them anymore. You know what I mean? And 2, we don't even have the patience or the mental capacity to even focus on it to make it happen because we lose. So it's like, and that's what Reach for subliminally, that's what Reach for the Stars is about. So it's actually not dumbed down. It's actually more power. And I think it could be if marketed
did it
right.
much more subtly rather than like you said.
It's like, how we do these shows. I made it about our grind and you know what I mean, and things of that nature, like dealing with like free is about me dealing with my past issues. It's not me being free from my
responsibilities or anything like that.
Free from my habits, my my desires, my emotions, things of that nature, things that I'm a slave to, not free from. And I think that's where it started. That was done purposely because at first V for Vendetta was like, was more like I want to get. It was like Get Free, like Dead Prayers, which was like the second artist that I brought down was Dead Prayers. And we did Dead Prayers after Brand Nubian. You know what I mean? Which was dope. I'm gonna go right back because Brand Nubian actually put Dead Prayers on. I didn't even know that, but when we were going to stick
that was a format right there. Thank you, Mike. Right there. That was the thing
for the attention span.
Span. It is pretty sad, but I definitely love that perspective, man. That's very few people hear that. I mean, not even just people who are entertaining, like people who just speak. Very few people even note that particular problem is that people can't focus. People can't. like, how are you going to institute any type of change if you can't even focus on what the problem could be?
Speaking of change, Vaughn, I had noticed also just kind of you do philanthropic work in a sense. Like I saw BET had featured something with the tribute to Ferguson. You were involved doing a song with that. And what was it? The Why We Must March Again. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I had been doing some things. I know a couple people at BET, and they heard I had put out my I put my mixtape out, my last mixtape out before Reach for the Stars. It's called Son of Mars.
Son of Mars, yeah.
Yeah, and Son of Mars got Son of Mars actually got picked up by MTV.
Okay.
That was what Fear.
One of the songs. Yeah, Fear.
Yeah.
Fear got picked up by MTV, and a couple people from BET heard Fear, and then heard some of the freestyles that I did on Son of Mars, and so when the Trayvon Martin thing happened,
right?
They immediately reached out and they was like, "Hey, please know MTV is Viacom." It's
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they immediately reached out. And they was like, "Hey, can you do something for this?" I did it. They loved it, and so when the Mike Brown thing came around, they just asked me to do it again.
Come back again, right?
And I did it again. And they loved it in the air, and that's kind of like how that happened. I wouldn't call it philanthropy, you know what I mean? But I will like it was definitely.
See, I would though, because I mean, if you go out and you spit a message, and your mess, I'm sorry.
That was the underlying theme that I got just looking over just the things that you've done, your resume of work in a sense, because I was looking at it. I'm like, well, I said you're involved with that. Then the last time we had T. Lucas here when you were unable to make it, we were talking about the Hip Hop Live. we were talking about the Hip Hop Lives, and I want you to go further into that tonight, actually, to let our audience know what the Hip Hop Lives project is and what's going on with that.
Hip Hop Lives is something I got from KRS-One. Remember the song he had, the Hip Hop Lives, or what have you? And he was saying that hip is the know, it's the form. I just thought this was the best definition of hip hop that I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Hip to know.
Right. To be hip.
I'm hip.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Intelligent.
Hop is a form of movement. You know what I mean? And he was like, you can't just observe a hop. You gotta hop up and do it. Like, you know what I mean? Hip and hop is intelligence movement. And that's what Hip Hop Lives is based around. It's intelligence movement. It's intelligence. That's what we are. You know what I mean? And it's not like, and it starts with like the shows. Right. It starts with like making things happen for ourselves, like becoming self-sufficient, thinking about things, learning to focus, approaching things from a more
taking initiative, becoming goal-oriented,
an intelligent space, and not just waiting for everybody, setting goals. So that's it. And it's like the intelligent movement is alive as long as there's intelligence moving on the planet. And you know what I mean? And living, then hip hop is here. Because that's essentially what hip hop is. It's just intelligence.
So, what do you feel about the future of hip hop as a whole? Just your unabashed opinion. What do you think about the future of hip hop as it is?
I like, this is a controversial statement. You know what
I mean? I want to be controversial.
It's a controversial show.
What I'm about to say, like I actually, and this, I think it's heading in a great place right now. I like where hip hop is going right now. I love it, actually, to be honest with you. And I actually credit it to Lil Wayne. Right. I think Lil Wayne saved hip hop
because it's become more global.
Not for your generation. Your generation is already there. You see what I'm saying? Y'all already it's etched in stone. Right. But for that generation that's coming up and that's listening to Soulja Boy and Snap Your Fingers and doing all and this and Wayne drops a milli with no chorus. Yeah. He pulls a Prodigy. He pulls a Keep It Thorough. With a million and it's a hit record. And he goes in and then he puts out Drake. And who can, he sings, but lyrically can go with anybody in history.
That new mixtape is killing right now.
You know what I'm saying? That we've ever heard. And then Nicki comes out, and Nicki smashes Monster. With Jay and Kanye. Lyrics are coming back. You know what I mean? I think that, it's something that maybe Lil Wayne would never get credit for. I'm not a big Lil Wayne fan either. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy that's carted out. But the guy saved hip hop.
So what do you
single-handedly? And I love it.
So like the way that I view it, and this is, and you made some interesting points, but like I said, I'm gonna buck against the grain here. Okay. Me personally, I feel like the globalization of hip hop hasn't, and this is just me personally. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I feel like it has detracted from hip hop. I don't really feel like it's added to it because, like I was saying. The whole thing about and this is not saying anything bad about anybody's music. Wayne, Nicki Minaj, they out there, they're stars, they're doing, this is nothing about that. It's just that how hip hop has, and I don't want to make it seem like it's like a cultural or a color type thing, but hip hop used to represent, you know, not just, like I said, a color thing, but just the people's, you know, movement, like you said, intelligent movement, of everyone understanding, you know what I'm saying? I felt like we all had this inside joke that we all knew, which was hip hop. We all understood, you know what I'm saying? You could find out about someone's area just from listening to a record type deal. With the globalization of hip hop, and you have the Iggy Azaleas and the Nicki Minaj and, you know, all the others, you know, who will come out, you know, since then, I think that it's gone to a mass appeal type of, you know what I'm saying, thing where it's like McDonald's. When McDonald's first came out in the, you know, in the 60s,
corporation tell you what hip hop is.
It was great, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know,
this is what the sound should be, and this is what it should sound like.
Exactly. Now you have corporate execs who are data mining information.
The businessmen, the lawyers, the accountants,
and they're deciding what's hot, what you should like, what
you know what's dope about what's going on right now in hip hop. I'm gonna tell you what's dope, that Nicki, and like when I mentioned Lil Wayne and them, like they're just the beginning. Like that was just the start of it. Like it was a doorway that opened up. They opened the doorway up. You know what I mean? For your J. Cole's, for your Kendricks, for them to come through. And now Nicki can come out and have all this big promotion, all this crazy stuff that's going on around her project, where she's controlling everything, and J. Cole just sneaks an album out and he outsells her. He punishes her on the boards. Not to say Nicki, because Nicki doing her thing and she's killing. I love what she's doing. But like J. Cole can put out this album with no single, with nothing on the radio, and he goes on Jimmy Kimmel. He doesn't perform or whatever talk show. He doesn't perform a hit record. He performs a tribute to Ferguson. Where he's like in front of a bunch of white people.
So
and he's like,
I like that. So you basically like globalization.
It's coming. So now I can drop. They have no control anymore over the system. It's a glitch. It's like something is happening. Jay and Beyonce, they open that up. I think that's why they didn't give Beyonce the Grammy. You can just put an album out like that without nobody knowing, and then it becomes the biggest thing ever. You sell all these records and then get the Grammy for best album.
Disrespecting white people like that.
These niggas gonna start thinking they can just throw out anything.
That's right. It's like, you hold up. You cutting this out. Hold up now.
And then so Drake does it. Nobody just puts an album out. 500.
He did a half a mil.
All hip hop
first
on this
week.
joint. Like most of the hip hop stuff on this record, right? I haven't heard it, but from what I hear, it's a lot of rap on here.
Well, we heard it last week coming out of New York, and Flex was playing all over the radio, and that shit was some fire. I'm not even a Drake fan, but he changed my perception about him off that album a little bit.
The globalization of hip hop, I like the definition. I love that. It basically opened doors that it removed the shackles a little bit, because now so many people know what it is. They don't need that marketing tool for them to tell you what it is. People already know. I can just go out and go get this shit.
Kendrick drops I Love Myself.
Right.
Wins 2 Grammys. Right. And then he comes back, which I think everybody's stupid on, with Black of the Berry. Oh my God. Yo, which is way back. If I think if I Love Myself is like, can be likened to Martin, then like Black of the Berry is like Malcolm X. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, and I feel like that any given moment, Kendrick can drop an album whenever he gets ready to, and it's going to sell millions of records. And it's not about the globalization. It's not about the market. It's not about the corporations. Because the public has proven that they don't care about that. It just shows you that with Nicki.
I can go pick this shit
and
up
J.
online
Cole.
and get
it. I can go listen to it on Spotify all day. You'll get a 17. I'm not going to go purchase it. I'll go, but J. Cole drops this record and there's substance in there. The people are telling you
what they want. Exactly.
But
so
let
me ask one more question right quick then. Is that really despite the globalization or because of the globalization, or is that really because of information? Because globalization, you know, in terms of definition, is basically making everything the norm, right? It's making everything pretty much a status quo. The information, you know, how we access information now, you know, from social media and all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, that's what you're talking about. That's what probably, you know.
But that's a part of the globalization, though. You see what I'm saying? It ties right into it. Whereas though, like at one point, they can consume how we control how we listen to music. I mean, they not consume. They control how we consume music. They can't control that anymore.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And that's from globalization. Right.
They can't control now. Drake can just mention, because he has millions of followers on Twitter. So I dropped my album on iTunes. It's out.
Right.
Like,
a kid in Yemen. In Yemen can now hear that and say, "Oh, Drake's album's out." He goes, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, outlet he wants. It's all over the websites, which
anybody can go to.
He can't go into a music store and go get it anyway.
He can't go into a music store and go get it anyway. Right.
It's like
globalization.
Globalization. You're right. Globalization saved it. You're right.
Backfired. And Muslim. I'm not a Muslim, by the way. Right. But I say Muslims used to say. My brothers over in Islam used to say, the devil has a plan, but Allah is the greatest of planners. And that's what I see that's happening. Right. Like, the devil has a plan, and they're doing what they're doing, but then you start to see it's bad. It's like, whoa, but how that happen?
Exactly.
Like, whoa,
they bucking the system.
On?
Yeah.
It's like all of these little neos are popping up. These glitches in the system. It ain't just one. It's not a trick. You may think it was just one. Everybody wanted to be the one. It's multiple ones.
They're all flying around.
Because the Bible was 144,000 of them that's sitting out there, and they're like these little glitches that's just like disrupting, moving through the matrix, like, and they can't. It's too fast.
Right.
It's the internet. Like,
slow down.
The album out. It's 500,000 sold. Shit, we couldn't even block the joint. You know what I mean? Like, it's too fast. It's like, I can't even block this shit.
Better go like 5 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m.
Boom,
it's gone. By the time you wake up and see it, it's too late.
I love it. And even the fact with us, like with artists like us, where we could come out and throw shows and put ourselves, like, they don't control that anymore. We control our own. I don't have to sit back now. I can go do a show and get 5,000 a show now.
Exactly.
And ain't nobody, maybe nobody's in the building to even see me, but I just made $5,000 off of this show.
Right.
Beats the 9 to 5.
And my brand is out there, and I'm in front of 1,000. I put myself in front of 1,000 pieces. It's the future of hip hop right here. Okay. This is what's going on right now. Okay. You see what I'm saying? This is the next.
So do you envision a day? I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But do you envision a day where the globalization aspect of it pretty much falls by the wayside? And when I say this, I mean Europe, Africa, like it is now, but I mean to a much greater extent, whereas people, they don't even bother looking for, any type of company or corporation at all to inform them about anything at all, period.
Saying no to the labels.
The labels are basically useless.
It's definitely moving into that space now. It's already started to progress in that. You get certain guys that's coming out, you know what I mean? That's because we keep them in power.
Right.
You know what I mean? How we, and I don't have anything against labels either. Don't get me wrong. Right. Like, you know what I mean? From a business space, like a good partnership can benefit both parties.
Exactly.
So I'm not like a guy that's like, I hate the labels or anything like that. I don't want to get that misconstrued. But like, here's the thing. Like, I believe that artists that need labels, like, those artists deserve. I have this whole thing about 360 deals. You know what I mean? Okay. From doing business, from putting together shows.
Explain 360 deal.
360 deal is pretty much where they eat off of everything that you do. You know what I mean? It's always eat off you all the way around. You know what I mean? Whatever that can pose. It's different degrees of what a 360 deal can entail. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just limited to your shows and your merch. Sometimes it goes into your endorsements, and other things, movies or whatever you do. But here's my thing with that. If I'm a record label, right? And I built your whole brand, right? I shouldn't eat off of everything that brand produces. Right. If I go out and I build a brand, like naming you guys' brand is what?
Entourage Entertainment.
So now Entourage takes on it, and now Entourage goes and does a show on Showtime, right? Let's just say, and then they tell you, oh nah, you can't eat off of this meat. Like
hold on.
Y'all can have the radio station shit.
Sometimes shit, that's mine.
That's Showtime. Yo, I built this brand. Like, what are you talking about? This is my brand. So I think that, and that's the thing, like, they trick us and they have us thinking, so now they got us, you know what I mean? So now you got this lazy artist that sat around and smoke weed all day that ain't did shit. You see what I'm saying? But write a rhyme and whack off in the house, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then somebody come out and let's just say, let me not say, because I don't want to make it personal. I don't want to let's just say an artist comes in, some artist or somebody comes in with relevancy and puts you on, and then you blow up. that artist or that entity shouldn't be able to capitalize because they're responsible for that brand. Right. Like if Jay-Z is responsible for everything that Memphis Bleak has accomplished because he's been associated with that brand, should Jay-Z not be able to benefit from that brand if it grows into something crazy? Right. And I think that especially with the album sales, as far as album getting money off of record sales, like artists never ate off record sales. Right. So that was like a whole bunch of crap anyway. Oh, the record sales ain't selling. That was that's what I didn't like from the labels. Oh, well, the records ain't selling. So we need to eat off of this. It's like
it's all about assumed risk. Absolutely. They knew what they were getting into. They do that to everybody. Yeah. They know the risk they assume.
Even the artists that you sleep on, like let's say Tiger. Like Tiger, he claims that he never received a royalty from Cash Money. Not one royalty since he's been over here. Any money from his albums. But here's a $20 million company in Last Kings.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Makes you start to look at artists a little different now. When you see these guys and they complain about records and they ain't making no money and they sold it, and you got this little young dude who most people are like, oh, whatever their opinion of Tiger is, but on a hush, he's a $20 million guy. Ain't none of that from record sales. He ain't touring heavy. He ain't the biggest rapper in the world. You see what I'm saying? But he got a company that's worth $20 million. See, that's the future right there. This is it.
Self-investment, diversification.
The business is a business, basically.
This is it. Like so, I back to your
that's
question.
Birdman doing management deals.
I love
the direction.
That direction of we're doing what they did. When the same. I think when hip hop was being created and that same rebellious nature and that same it's just being done in corporation. Now we're capitalizing off of it. Like and the older guys are looking at it like, oh well. I'm not all of them, but like some of them, like how can you be mad? Like you one of your Tribe Called Quest was telling us back in the day, record companies are shady, so kids watch your back. They never made any money. So now these guys are coming out and they making money, and now the older people are mad. Yeah. And they're like, oh well, it's too corporate now. Get out of here with that. Right. You know what I mean? You just broke your whole. You just complained your whole record. You had this whole rant, your whole thing about how you never made any money, and then this young guy comes out and he figured out how to make money, even if it wasn't in the record business. Maybe the money was never in the record business. He figured out how to make money and diversify in other things. But now he's corporate.
He's sold out. He's corporate.
Or, the global. Not to say what you're saying, but it turns to this globalization. It's just my views. You know what I mean? The globalization of hip hop, and it's like, yo, come on.
That's a big. These guys are rich. That's a big complaint that most you just said it. A lot of the generation, from our generation, the rappers who came from there. They all have the same statement: globalization of hip hop.
Even Scarface was, you know what I'm saying, to the point where he was like, "I'm done. I'm just done."
So. The globalization of hip hop. They say it's killing hip hop. They say they're putting it death now. You have a different perspective. I like your perspective.
It's growing. It's taking it into
it's evolving.
Space where one day we can actually really become the universals.
Right.
Reach for the stars.
Reach for the stars.
The
Reach for the
Warner
stars.
Brothers now. Because now you have artists like Jay. Now Drake is almost a billionaire.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of that. Right. Versus, because them are the companies that's, when you start talking about, you hear Jay talking about, I'm getting cornered by the bosses, the Leos and Doug Morrises, Jimmy Iovine. Like, these are the guys that's the billionaires, and you know what I mean? You're talking about the people who run Vindy, the guys who run Universe, the people who you don't see.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I used to have this thing. I'm like, you want a deal, you don't even know who you dealing with.
Right.
You thinking you going to get a deal, and you don't even know who these guys are.
Exactly. Good point. That's a very good point.
You don't see him.
You don't know who Doug is. You don't know who. You know what I mean? Edgar, the Brofmans are.
Take note, artists.
From how Edgar Brofman.
Pay attention, artists, please.
Edgar Brofman. Let me tell you, Universal was started by a guy named Edgar Brofman, right? Edgar Brofman, right? Edgar Brofman. This is gonna mess y'all up. Remember, now Interscope is a sub label under what? Universal, right? Which was, that's who Dr. Dre,
and
Snoop, Gin and Juice. Guess what liquor that Edgar Brofman owns? Gin.
Yeah. I know he owns Tanqueray.
These connections is like,
and that led to the Seagram's commercial.
Right. Now this one gets deep though.
This
one gets deep though. This one gets super deep. What is a gin? A demon. right?
Mm-hmm.
A gin, evil spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what his first name of his liquor company was?
What?
Distilled Spirits. That was the first, before they bought gin out, because they bought it out from somebody. It was called Distilled Spirits. Like, the problem with, and that's what hip hop is like, yo, do your research.
Exactly.
Know what's going on. Know who you dealing with. I'm not telling you not to deal with the labels, but know who you dealing with before you go deal, because if you don't know what you dealing with, you don't know what you getting yourself into.
Exactly.
You don't understand why gin and juice is gin and juice. Why this song is that. Of course they gonna push that. Of course that was the biggest song of the goddamn night. Of course Nas is ill, man. They got smothered out by this record by gin and juice, because guess what? It wasn't just about the artist. Every goddamn person in the world, and everybody knows the real money is where at. Where's Diddy making all his money at? In the liquor. It's always the money.
That's why all new artists trying to come in with the liquor deal.
With the liquor deal.
You know what I'm
saying?
Trying
to get champagne, because that's where the money is. So you think he made money off of gin and Snoop, more money off of gin and Snoop Dogg singing gin and juice, or the motherfuckers going to drink gin and juice after they heard
it. Exactly.
Only reason why I drunk it.
And
the shit is nasty. And the shit is nasty. But you still drank it. While that song was playing and during that time and era.
All right. Well, I want to get back, Von. We got some upcoming things, actually, because I know we about to be running short on time, and I know we getting in such an awesome discussion here that, we just run out of time all the time. I want you first and foremost to talk about the upcoming show on the 27th at the Howard Theater. You're going to be opening for Brand Nubian and the legendary Coogee Rap. So go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about the show, ticket prices, if you know any of that information, where they can hit you up or find you if they need to.
Show is happening at Howard Theater February 27th. It's an early show. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 8. It's over at 10. You know what I mean? Ticket prices are...
Put that close up there so people can see that.
I don't know if you can really see it because of glare.
That's good right there.
I can't.
Light on it. Oh, thank you.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Mike saved the day again.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's, ticket prices are $22.50 in advance. I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, it's Coogee Rap, Brand Nubian, legendary hip hop artist. So if you're a hip hop head and you come from that
definitely.
like, that's the show that you don't want to miss. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where we want to lay our roots at. Like, you know, we did these shows, but we did like the Crit show. And so my thing is, it's strategic. Like, you know, we do the Crit, we do this show, and we able to reach this audience, which is like this 35, 40 and up audience. And then we go do the Crit show, and then we able to reach this little 18 or whatever, and up to like maybe like 25, maybe even 30 audience. And it kind of gives me a good general consensus of my demo.
Right.
Of how I can, like, okay, so now I have...
You hitting multiple demographics off at the same time.
And then responding. We did the mock show or what have you. So that's... Even the shows are strategic. I ain't just throwing shows. Like, if you notice, it's strategic shows that's happening for different generations and different things. You know what I mean? And
now, do you tour out of town, or are you doing most of your stuff locally?
We do most of our stuff here, but because we've been doing so much stuff here, like we actually looking at, like, we got a couple of joints coming up in BB King's. I don't want to in New York, or what have you. I'm not gonna I don't want to say it yet because it's not.
Let the cat out the bag.
Don't want to reveal too much.
It's not done. Like, it's not. The ink is not settled in there. But like we looking like we about to start doing a lot more shows out in BB King's. You know what I mean? So. And we just trying to, and we probably going to, hip hop is going to probably, we're going to actually put on shows there as well. Like, you know what I mean? We're going to continue that same foundation that we did here with those shows, get on show. The great thing about doing shows is that a lot of shows now, some of the shows ain't even a lot of the shows not even my shows. I'm just on them now.
Right.
Because people are already like, it's politics. You know how it is.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
It's stupid. And I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we was just talking about this. Like, it's crazy. But it's like, I get a bunch of shows now because I'm doing shows.
Right.
Versus at one point,
when you want
it's like
shows,
an snake eating itself.
Now, so now I get called for everything. They calling me out to do Tinashe, and I'm like, why y'all want me to do this show? Like, what the hell, who the hell is, like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, T, look, we got to open up for Tinashe. He like, Tinashe? What the fuck is that? Like, I'm like, it's R&B singing, but that's what happens, though. And then you said, it's the same thing happening in the Grammy. That's why you see stupid people win stuff, because it's all politics. It's like, it's who you know.
That's
for
who you
real.
know.
And it's like, we want to end that. And that's why, you know, for the juvenile shows for the backyard shows that we've done at juvenile, I put other artists on like Hard Working Entertainment. You know what I mean? I put Godzilla on the Erykah Badu show. You see what I'm saying? To try to end these things, I put Jamila on the Trina show.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like to try to end that, and I don't have relationships with any of these people like that either. Right. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, yo, Godzilla. Y'all got the song to eat, the drink, but let's do this Erykah Badu. I think this would be a good look. Let's make this happen right here, cause we in this space. Like, let's try to make this happen. You see what I'm saying? Like Jamila, you want to open up for Trina? You see what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
In the backyard, come open up, do this training show. I think we gotta get rid of that. We have to get rid of that cliquish thing and try to. And somebody has to. Everybody's scared. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to be left out there.
Nobody wants to be left
out. Exactly.
Well,
Vaughn, before you go, I want you to go ahead and let's talk about the Reach for the Stars project, where your fans can find it at. Are you have you released it yet?
Yo, we released hard copies at shows.
Okay.
Exclusively at shows now. Okay. You know what I mean? And that's
so that means you got to come out to the show on the 27th at Howard Theater.
Yeah. We haven't came out. We haven't did an actual online release yet.
Okay. Okay. So I wouldn't be letting the cat out of the bag. I was just listening to it. You know what I'm saying? The listening experience, I loved it. You know what I mean? One thing that I noticed that, for me is always a plus is I noticed you used a lot of classic samples on some of the songs on there. Like, for instance, Change had that old school Confunction, Let Me Put Love on Your Mind. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, shoot. So I started writing all the songs and writing all the samples down. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to love this one. So I just, the time and effort that you put into the thought process behind that album, I definitely want y'all to check this man out, come to his shows, get his CDs. Where can we find you online on social media?
NaVonSmith.com, and that's NaVonSmith, and all my Twitter, everything is NaVon Smith. That's what I tell you.
Right.
Everything is Facebook, NaVon Smith, Instagram, NaVon Smith, YouTube, NaVon Smith.
Everything is about
everything is NaVon Smith. You know what I mean? So.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out and joining us tonight. We want everybody to make sure you check out NaVon Smith. Make sure y'all come back next week to see us also. Thank you.
I'm glad you people still exist. I want to thank you.
Very well informed. Hip hop lives. Yes, sir.
It still lives, man. Thanks for coming back again.
Reach.
No problem.
Reach.
Kanye say we the new slaves. Black skin hairs, nigga, I need a new shave. Since they say Jesus is coming before Jesus, I'm putting together some pieces, trying to find a new way. Hey, it's apparent while we praying, they preparing. I can see my reflection in your chain while it's glaring. Better get you a clearance if you want the top secrets. Got the all seeing eye in your pocket, but you ain't peep it.
Gucci this, Gucci that. Maybachs, Bentleys. Fuck all that shit right now.
It's NaVon, so goody. I still rock my hoodie. Rest in peace to Trayvon. Rappers ain't kings, they pawns. I look them in their eyes and tell them they want to die like a fake blonde or redhead. Don't get it twisted like a treadhead, cause you can get stretched like a bedspread. No comforters, I would never succumb to the bullshit that they pump up through the media, deceiving us. They feed us bullshit, all we do is eat it up. Won't research shit unless it's on Wikipedia. Flow cold as anemia, sicker than leukemia. Damn near cancerous, only spectral to dance to this. I'm on my path to shit, with a facade of the philosophies that make a mockery out of a modest. Obviously, I don't got a degree from Harvard. Just because you went to Yale, that don't mean you smarter. Wish I could be a lawyer or a doctor, but my forefathers never intended for me to prosper. Never. Tonight I'm on the block with my partners waving that chopper. For that fat lady sing, I snatch her ass out the opera. All I care about is trees and hoes. I'm a gardener, so if your girl is on my Peter, I'm a Parker. The mentality, we're living in a false reality. They poison ebony with ivory, but nigga, I can see right through 'em. Fuck beating around the bush, I bring it right to 'em. Take this beef while it's cooked. When I hide something from a nigga, put it in a book. Just be lucky I'm a rapper, cause I could've been a crook. With the juice like Bishop, fucking up you rooks. Instead I'm killing these verses, fucking up the hooks. Got my mind on my money, look I grind cause I'm hungry. I'ma keep on rapping till my time is upon me. I know niggas don't want me to shine so they can sum me, but my first name isn't Lamont, you big dummy. R.I.P. to Fred Sanford. I spit for the struggling parents who can't even afford a pair of Pampers. Tell Obama I got some shit on my chest.